UNESCO is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, and the UNESCO External Relations and Information Liaison Office head is George Papagiannis, who is and the former head of the UNESCO office in Baghdad, Iraq. Wow, talk about timely. Is on the line with us. Sir, welcome.
Hello, Tom. How you doing?
I am very well. I hope you are too.
I am indeed. It's a pleasure to be with you and with your listeners, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Well, thank you. I think most Americans don't know what UNESCO is. Everybody's heard of it, but and probably has different ideas about it. You want to just give us a snapshot of what it is you do?
No, what we do is within that mandate that you stated. We are the UN Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. We were founded following World War II. America played a very significant role in the creation of UNESCO. Eleanor Roosevelt was inspiring and inspired Americans to get involved. Archibald MacLeish, who was the Librarian of Congress, wrote the preamble to the UNESCO Constitution. We had another Librarian of Congress, Luther Evans, who was a Director General of UNESCO, one of two Directors General. So the DNA of the United States is wrapped up into UNESCO because we were there at the birth, and we've been part of this organization up until the time when Ronald Reagan made a tactical withdrawal. He didn't withdraw from the whole organization in the 1980s, although some people talk about it as full withdrawal. But the organization has now resumed its relationship with the United States as of 2003 fully. And as such, we continue to work in the areas of educational programming, planning, in promoting scientific research and catalyzing the science around many issues that I think Americans care about. And one of the things that I try to talk about is the fact that, UNESCO matters to Americans and Americans matter to UNESCO because UNESCO really is about jobs, peace, and security for all Americans.
Wow. So what does that look like in terms of specific behaviors, specific actions? What are you doing on the ground?
I'll give you some ideas, okay? So, we recently, we've been seeing, of course, what's been happening in Iraq. You mentioned I spent a couple of years in Iraq as the guy in charge of the Baghdad office.
Was that before the invasion?
No, I was there from 2009 to 2011.
Whoa.
So it was actually my second time in Iraq. I was there also in 2003. The effort that UNESCO undertook in Iraq in the time that I was there was focused on all aspects of our mandate. We were working in areas of education, so we were doing things like teacher training, curriculum development. We were doing literacy and vocational education training for adults, especially for women. We were working on keeping girls in school. We were doing programs on freedom of expression and freedom of the press, and we actually even introduced a new curriculum into the higher education, into the colleges in Iraq and in Kurdistan, of a new journalism curriculum that was really designed for the 21st century. They hadn't even touched their curriculum since the 1950s. So as you can imagine, it needed a little bit of retooling. Yeah. We also worked in terms of the sciences. So we worked on working with farmers on water resource management and how to ensure that farmers could get the best out of the water supply that was there when you think about the fact that they were in the middle of a drought. And so it was a real challenge for them. And the problems that they faced in Iraq were further compounded by the fact that they had antiquated systems of water delivery. I mean, people don't think about this, but that's UNESCO. We're working on those things. We also manage the tsunami early warning system, which I think is something that most Americans don't realize. We do the World Heritage sites around the world, of which there are 21 in the United States, and which are significant parts of local sustainable economies. And when you think about that, and I think, we're talking about jobs, we're talking about security, we're talking about our homeland security. When I talk about issues as the tsunami early warning system, this makes, I think, UNESCO relevant to the lives and livelihoods of Americans.
Yeah, that's remarkable. What was the state of education when you were in Baghdad most recently? This was just a few years ago. Were schools operating again? My understanding is that under Saddam Hussein, the Ba'athist Party being a socialist party that basically all education was free, including college, assuming that you remember the party. I'm not trying to portray him as some kind of FDR saint, but when Paul Bremer came in and said no more money for the school, I believe he said no more money for higher education. Did he not? I mean, you were there. What happened?
Well,
and where is it now?
The state of education in Iraq was obviously in a process of rebuilding. There was no question. As I mentioned, we worked on one of the areas that we worked on in terms of curriculum development was developing a new journalism curriculum, and it hadn't been touched since the 1950s. The curriculum they had was almost 60 years old. So, when you think about it, that was something that cut across, all sectors of the education system, whether you were in the sciences and math, and so we had to look at the structural issues. It was, on one level, you're doing curriculum, but you also have to ensure that you have people who can teach to that curriculum. Well, that means that you have to have teacher training. And then you have to make sure that the infrastructure is there so that you're getting the best possible people into it. And then you got to look at what are the strategic issues when it comes to education. What are going to be the objectives of educating Iraqi children as defined by the Iraqis? Are children going into a school system in which, when they come out at the other end, they have a set of skills that will make them marketable to that economy in Iraq?
Right. Amazing. It must have been like the guy with 12 pie plates in the air, George Papagiannis, am I saying that right?
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you. UNESCO External Relations and Information Liaison Office in New York. The website, unesco.usmission.gov. Thank you for being with us today, sir.
Thank you so much. Take care, Tom.
Thank you.